The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
It's something when we ask the system for actual results versus when they want to give us symbols of progress. They're more than happy to give us Black Lives Matter Avenue, but will they give us the George Floyd Policing Reform Act? Will they give us HR 1? Will they give us Medicare for all? Will this system give us what we actually need to survive? Or are they going to continuously give us symbolism as a way of satisfying us? Those are the conversations that we're having today. Up first on the clock with Georgia Ford.
Good morning. Good morning. One of the things I love that we do here at the Benjamin Dixon Show is we look at all of the headlines nationally reported by all of these different outlets, and we really try to present them in a way that aligns with the perspective of the Black community, marginalized communities. And then also on the other side of that, we try to look at what's not being covered, what is missing. And to Benjamin's point about giving actual change, one thing that has not been covered at large is the resistance to bills in regards to police accountability. Here in the state of Minnesota, we saw 65,000 signatures delivered to the governor, and apparently he was unavailable to accept those 4 boxes of signatures. But there was also, I believe, 100,000 signatures that were sent digitally as well. And it was in time for the special session. The governor announced on Monday that he's going to be extending this special session until at least July 1 so that lawmakers can figure out exactly what to do with the state budget to prevent a shutdown. But you can see here, community leaders, activists, organizers walking to the governor's office with 4 boxes of physical signatures, 65,000 to be exact. That is a lot of signatures. I mean, this is not a small task to obtain that many signatures in response to and support of 8 bills on police accountability. And you'll see there, Jonathan McClellan, who we've had on the show, he sets his box down. Eventually, they'll knock on the door. He doesn't answer. And so the question is, for those of you last year who used your voice, who called your representative and said that you want to see change in police accountability, the question is, what are you doing now to acknowledge that we still haven't seen that change? What are you doing to put pressure to make sure that those changes that were requested get across the finish line? State Representative John Thompson is using his platform and his political power to advocate for these bills. Take a listen to what he had to say shortly before these signatures were delivered.
You're just as responsible for everything that's happened negatively in our community as the people who've done it. Meaning you are just as responsible for the fires in South Minneapolis as the people who lit them. You're just as responsible for you're just as responsible as the person who ran this car into this young woman. You are responsible for it. You create the conditions by bad legislation that you pass. Today we talked about nothing but ending the governor's emergency powers. That's it. This special session was not so special today because we got nothing accomplished today but a bunch of yelling by Republicans about ending the governor's powers. In the meantime, my friends, my family, my son is at risk of losing his life here in this state. Please don't call me the angry black man. I'm mad. I'm ready to make a difference right now here in this state. And so are my freshman colleagues. Thank you so much for having me.
Again, that is State Representative John Thompson using his political power, his position to advocate for change. I want to bring in our guest this morning, Ayolanda Mack. She is one of the co-founders of Black Family Blueprint. Can you tell me, I know that as a mother, as a wife of a Black man, and as a founder who's working with Black families all across the state of Minnesota, this has been an issue that you have been following and dealing with, and how it impacts people in their day-to-day lives, the fact that this legislation still isn't passed, the fact that there's nothing in place to prevent more police killings, the fact that there's nothing in place to hold police accountable for when there are more police killings, in which we have seen. What has your thought been to really just make sense of the fact that these bills still aren't passed? I think you're on mute. There you. Oh, well, I think we're having a little bit of mute issues. There you go. There you go.
You can hear me? I apologize
Yep.
about that. Yes, and so there's been a casual loss of life, and it's really unfortunate that there's a consistent push for legislation.
So I think we're gonna bring Ben in really quick, and we'll talk about this. You have some music that's also being picked up in your audio as well. Ben, I know that we have talked a lot about the importance of legislation, right? And the different roles. So you have people who are in the street, who are protesting, applying pressure, holding people accountable. But then you also have folks like State Rep John Thompson, who is a lawmaker, who is really trying to make sure that laws are put in place. But it's been a year. Is this a reasonable window of time, or are folks validated in their kind of their lack of patience now? Because it feels like people are starting to lose patience.
So I guess first of all, good morning, and Ayolanda, good morning. It's a pleasure to meet you and have you here. Good morning to you, Georgia. I think it's from whose perspective are we analyzing this? Black people have been fighting for justice in this country since we got here. So how much longer do we have to wait? Like James Baldwin said, for your progress. But then if you look at it from the white supremacist side, from the side of the system, they have every incentive to slow this as much as they possibly can. That's why it took almost 8 years for us to get the completion of the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, the Fair Housing Act during the 60s, because they had every incentive they could to slow us down as much as they possibly could. So if you ask them, of course, they're going to say we need more time. But if you ask Black folks, we've been trying to fight for justice in this country since day one.
Absolutely. And I think we may have those audio issues resolved there. So feel free to hop in.
Yes, I was just saying, there's been a casual loss of life for far too long. And we have been fighting. We've been fighting for such a long time. It's unfortunate to see that what I call petty politics is still at play. And again, when I say the casual loss of life, it's Black life, but it's not only Black life now. And there are so many voices that are being left out of the decision-making table. There's so many perspectives that are being missed in what's happening on the decision-making standpoint. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. They just participated in a press conference that young people curated, created, they wrote, and they said our voice is missing. We are being blamed as young people. They said, as the future leaders, the youngest leaders, we are being left out of this conversation, and the violence is being pointed at us. When the police are looking for the suspects in the murders of people across the city, a young Black man is the profile that they're looking for. And so we know that I always say community gun violence is the flip side of the same coin of white supremacy that allows police violence, that allows state-sanctioned violence through policies that leave marginalized communities out or continue to marginalize communities. It's the flip side of the same coin of white supremacy that also produces this intercommunal violence that we see happening in the community. And so we need change now. We need change to happen within our families and our communities, and we also need to see it on city, state, county, and federal levels to enact the change that's needed to preserve the life in our communities.
Absolutely. And among the families that you and your husband work with, are you seeing a increase in, just how this is impacting the mental health, the family institution as a whole? And how are you guys working through that with families?
I would just say that we are not okay. We're not okay. There's so much happening in the news. We live in a community where there's consistent gunshots and fireworks all happening at the same time, and having to explain that to our children, having to drive past crime scenes, scrolling through a timeline and seeing things that, that have happened, and my children have questions. Our children have questions. Some of us don't have the resources to move out of these communities that are producing a lot of violence and negative behavior. And so families are struggling. We are struggling with our mental health. We are struggling with our physical health. We are having a hard time having these conversations with our children. Many of us have lost and are continuing to lose loved ones in our families. And we are also standing on the front lines for justice again within our communities, and also justice on the decision-making level, so that this type of centralized, concentrated violence from both police and the intercommunal violence can come to an end. So we're not okay. We're not okay. But we're fighting. We're standing strong and we're fighting and we're resilient, but we are not okay.
You know, I wanted to ask you, in what other ways have you seen this trauma manifest? Because as we talk about this, it doesn't matter if we're talking with Black people in Minneapolis, Black people in Atlanta, Georgia, Black people in Washington, D.C., Chicago, New York City, we are all Mississippi. We are all experiencing these types of traumas that are not only coming from our existence as Black people in general, it's coming from the systems around us. And then sometimes we have trauma that's brought on from our own community.
Mhm.
How are you seeing it manifested, and how are you addressing it?
Oh, that's a good question. One of the ways that I'm really seeing it manifested is that we have a lack of tolerance for whiteness, and I say that to the extent that as a protective factor for Black people in this country, we have had to have a level of tolerance for whiteness and what that produces. In terms of white fragility, in terms of the assertion of white power, especially how it plays out in the workplace and in the educational institution. And so that lack of tolerance it has pushed us to pull out our cell phones and record situations that happen. It's pushing us to have more tough conversations right on the spot. We're metabolizing that pain differently. But then, so that's on one end. But then on the family end, we see that the rates of domestic violence since the pandemic have went up really high. And so there is still also this imploding of symptoms of trauma that we're experiencing.
Wow.
that is impacting our family. It's impacting our children. Not only have we seen domestic violence rise, we've also seen instances of child abuse rise. And so these are the tough conversations that we have to have. We have to have these conversations. We have to have them in our families and communities, and continue to talk about how this is happening when you're in a space of mourning, but you still have children, and your children might not be at school because we're still in the middle of a pandemic. And so there is no respite from what it is that we're experiencing. It causes us to implode in our families. It causes us to kind of show our ugliest self, and present our ugliest self with the people who we love the most. And then there's also not a lot of time, even like pre-pandemic, like in terms of getting healing and therapy. That's been a challenge because, again, Black bodies have been taught that you have to keep going and going and going. There is no rest. There ain't no time for no mental health. There's no time for mental illness. We don't have time for that. And so we see the destruction of Black families happening from the inside out and from the outside in.
And what are some of the tools and resources that you equip your families with to overcome some of this stuff?
Oh, that's a good question. The first thing is really recognizing where you are. You have to recognize where you are. Sometimes I don't think that we realize how we are really, what I say, metabolizing the pain. I don't think we always realize how we're metabolizing the pain and how our family or our children may be experiencing us. And so that's the first step. Like, how is your child experiencing you when they just want to say, look at me, and you're like, go sit down somewhere, like what kind of impact does that have? So first, it's really just a slowing down, recognizing the impact. Second is looking at who is in your support network. And some of us don't have support networks. And so it's thinking through, who do I need in my support network? And proactively, in a way, forcing that to happen, forcing a support network to come and secure you. And you can secure them. It's a reciprocal kind of process. Really that forcing. Also taking time for reflection. Again, that's about knowing where you are, really implementing rituals, whether it's walking, meditation, prayer, singing, dancing. There's so many things that we already do as a people. Laughing at comedy, putting on some Richard Pryor, finding those things that make you feel good, that bring about the emotions that you want to feel. They always talk about exercising. Exercising is extremely important, but just do it in a way that it makes you feel good. For me, I like to get in my car by myself and play music that has a little E at the end of the at the title. Like, I like to listen to my music, and I like to, I'm a rap fan. I'm a hip hop fan. So I get in my car, listen to all the old 90s hip hop artists that I absolutely love, and just zone out to my music without having to hear my children say, "Ooh, but they got a cuss word."
Oh, we're living
Sometimes
some saved lives.
Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes I do that, and my 2 and 3-year-old will start cussing back at the most inconvenient time.
They most certainly
Exactly. They absolutely will.
George,
we have to have fun. I mean, at the end of the day,
Absolutely.
we have to have fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. And George, I wanted to pose this question to you as well, because in this work, we're fighting for justice. Like, whatever tools we use, whatever mechanisms or methods that we use, we're fighting for justice. We have these representatives on the screen here. We have the gentleman who's been a guest on our show. He's using his voice and he's using his platform to fight for justice. In our fight for justice, and in your fight for justice, Georgia, as you do this work, we constantly get saddled with these new traumas, and we're constantly trying to figure out how to balance it out with the fight, with the pain from the fight. Ayolanda, you were saying how we're getting it from the outside and the inside.
Mm-hmm.
The outside system is causing us to react and not show our best selves. But then, like you said, sometimes we don't have that patience with our kids. And George, I know you're doing this with the same number of kids as I'm doing. I'm just curious as to how all of this affects and impacts the narrative that we're trying to fight, because as we're fighting these systems, we're having to survive them simultaneously.
Yeah, it's complex, and there's so many layers, and sometimes it can be hard to decipher, is it coming from the outside right now? Is it coming from the inside right now? But even to that point, Ben, yesterday, and I think we have some footage of this. Yesterday, there was a militarized response to a protest that was happening, which now had the protest for Winston Smith has evolved into not just a protest for Winston Smith, but also a vigil site for Deanna Marie, who was killed by a white driver who drove his car into the protest. And so now, not just the layer of another Black man in Minnesota killed, but now the layer of a protester, an ally who is out there using her voice to stand up. And then this is the response. And it's become so commonplace in our nation that we have officers who are standing in community, among residents, among civilians, who are not being violent, who are not destroying anything, who are simply using their voice. And this is the response. And it's become so commonplace that it doesn't even make the national news anymore. That we're seeing this, and not just here. I mean, this has happened in Portland. We've seen this happen in LA. We've seen it happen in Chicago. This is the new normal for police response to protesting when individuals are Black, because we didn't see the billy clubs, we didn't see the riot gear on January 6th.
Not at all.
So You know, it is a lot, Ben, when you're deciphering through all of these different layers. And to be honest, just being out there, I was out there last night. There was no tear gas, there was no rubber bullets used, but just the visuals of these large guns being toted around in our neighborhood, it puts tension in your body, you know. And so you do have to recognize where you are and find places to release it so that you can show up in a full capacity for your children. But for those of us who are affected, I think that it starts with acknowledging you're affected and creating space for you to process through it. One of the young men who was a friend of Winston Smith, the man who was killed by a federal task force a few weeks ago, he was out there. His name is Ty, and you could just tell how all of the, not just his friend, but now the protester and the police response, how it's all building up. Take a listen to what he said last night.
Been nothing but peaceful. We haven't burned nothing down. We haven't broken nothing. We haven't done anything but gather and try to grieve and heal. That's the only thing that we're trying to do. And they attack us with tear gas, and they were shooting at us on the other side. There's officers in there with suppressors on their guns. Why do they have suppressors on their guns? So they can't hear us? So nobody can hear when they shoot us? Dead in the street?
Thank you.
What?
Dude,
it's like we're the terrorists out here. Like there wasn't a terrorist attack 2 days ago.
I want that other dude's number.
I want answers on how this is protecting us in the community. How is this protection?
Yeah, and the point of him calling what happened to Deanna Marie a terrorist attack, mind you, that is being reported as a drunk driver. Have you been following this at all, Ayo?
Yes, I have. Yeah, and white terrorist attacks are always somehow reframed into, oh, this person was just experiencing mental health. They were under the influence, and it never gets tied back to the delusion of white supremacy that allows these types of attacks to happen. We know that these are not the first attacks on protesters, and there continues to be massive attacks on people who are really truly fighting for justice.
I can't help but think about how when it comes time for symbolism, there are plenty of corporations, politicians, personalities who are willing to line up and sign off on it. They're more than happy to give us a Black Lives Matter avenue painted on the streets. But when it comes down time for actual legislation that would change our situation, I'm seeing more and more and more. That's when we see definitive opposition. We see it with the HR1 on the federal level with Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema just saying, nope, we're not going to do it. Right. We see it across the South in Republican-led states where they're like, nope, not only are we not going to help you with police reform, we're going to take away your right to vote. What are you seeing on your side of the country, but also in general, in terms of the difference between actually doing something for Black people versus the symbolism that they're more than happy to have a press conference around?
Oh, it's the same thing. I mean, when we look at the protesters in Minnesota, we see that the majority of people out there, the numbers are pretty European American, more than African American. And so also a heavy European American focus on defunding the police. Now, these are people who are coming from South Minneapolis, Southwest Minneapolis, in pretty affluent communities. And I always say, like, I get it. Like, our police force has been very problematic, but we have to think about if we have white people pushing for this defund the police movement, we have to think about how the stand your ground allowed Trayvon Martin to be killed with protections for his killer. We have to think about the unintended consequences that the other people are advocating for that we don't see playing on the agenda. And so, yes, I struggle with the word ally because it's confusing here in Minnesota to know who an ally is, because you may be standing on the front line with me and also in a decision-making position that continues to allow this very thing that you appear to be protesting against happen. And so we have to be very clear about what it is that we're asking for, who is also asking for it with us, and what the real agenda is. Because that is absolutely it. On the decision-making floor, things are not being passed. There's Safe Streets Minnesota. It's a $20 million bill that they're asking for really dealing with the root causes of what is really forcing and pushing the violence that we see in our communities. When we come to that table, we're being told that, oh, it's too much money. We would never be able to fund $20 million for this effort. And at the same time, the same people who are saying, oh, that's too much money, again, are on the front lines. They're attending vigils. They're posting the pain that they're experiencing from what's happening in our communities. And so there's a really Minnesota interesting duality around what we see with this topic in particular.
I call it Oh, yeah. I call it performative allyship, where it is, oh, yes, I have your best interests. I'm going to do what I can in your face. But it's just a show. And a lot of times it's reactionary. And so when we see something horrific happen, like the murder of George Floyd, everybody just, that comes to the table and wants to do something. But think about how performative and how reactionary all of those corporate statements were, because here we are a year later, there's no substantial change and they're nowhere to be found. And so I'm curious to know from you, Ayo, how would you define this moment in history? Because when you start to look at all of the things that are happening one after the other, and not just in this region, but nationally, Ben, you talk about voter suppression being a modern day attack on the Black community when you look back at what we saw before the civil rights movement. So all of these things added together, how would you describe this moment in history?
I call him my godfather, Professor Mahmoud El-Kati. He talks about how things are so old. It's so old, it's new. This is a historical moment. This is a historical era, and this is also historical. Our people have been through this so many times before. We can think even back to the American Revolution. Black people were fighting for freedom then. It was believed at that time that enslaved Africans would have been freed by the American Revolution. And then we had the Civil War, where we were standing on the front line, and not alone. We were standing on the front line with our white counterparts as well, fighting for the same thing. And then you can fast forward, there was Tulsa. Fast forward, there are so many different instances in history. This is nothing new. This is a historical moment. We're seeing it manifest a little bit differently in this era, but it's so old, it's new. This has happened before. And we have this fight. I believe that this fight, it exists in our bodies across racial lines. This fight exists in our bodies. And so this is this is what America produces. This is what America has produced from the beginning. The fight for justice has been in existence as long as this country, even before the country was a country. The fight for justice has been in existence across racial lines for all marginalized communities. We know that we here in Minnesota are occupying Dakota land. We know what that means and how the levels of colonization and again this delusion of white supremacy has continued to impact Black and brown bodies. So it's not new. It's not new. It'll definitely go down in history, but it along with everything else that I just named. So it's a struggle.
Well, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for spending your morning with us. We really appreciate it. And I feel like we could go so much deeper on so many things, but we are on the clock. So thank you for being here. And for those of you who are watching, we appreciate you tuning in. Stay around for more on The Benjamin Dixon Show.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. It's your boy DJ Exclusive, y'all. It's time for Like It or Not.
Sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Y'all come on in, get situated, get settled. Make sure that you grab your tea, your coffee, your drinks, whatever it is that you need to get your morning going. And we're going to get started here shortly. In the meantime, I'm going to provide you with some dope-ass jams.
And it's easy being petty. My mama used to tell me, gotta use you when you ready. Man, it's crazy how my brother said it could have been my cell. It's either prison or a grave, that's what everybody tell me. Man, life ain't a beach, it's a female dog. I'm staying 10 toes down, though I still might fall. Oh yeah, now I done came through, knocking pictures off you all.
Roll the Dragon, good morning. Alicia, good morning, y'all. Roque, good morning, I see y'all. Sophia, good morning, good morning.
And I feel like disrespect, help me turn my other cheek and say sticks and stones. They break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No,
Sweet Dingo, good morning.
More than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me. No, it just can't hurt me. No. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, no, no. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me.
Eric Green, good morning, good morning. Shout out to everybody that's streaming on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you're streaming from, Facebook, man. We appreciate y'all and love y'all. Make sure that you hit that follow, subscribe, and like button, y'all, so we know when Like It or Not is going down. Daniel, good morning. Mark S. Martha, good morning, y'all.
So be a light up on my path and a lamp under my feet. I know my faith strong, but my flesh still kinda weak. When that victory be looking like the verge of defeat, and I feel like disrespect, help me turn my other cheek and say sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right more than I've been wrong.
Chuck Diesel, good morning, brother.
No, it just can't.
Shout out, brother Latif. Good morning, Lord. Good morning.
No, you just can't hurt me. No, no, no.
You don't really know one thing about you.
Lisa Noel, good morning, good morning. Savage Sweetheart, what's going on? Shout out to the Lion family in the building, y'all. I see y'all. Good morning. Wake up, y'all. Wake up, wake up, wake up. If you know what movie that is, drop it in the chat, y'all, okay? Stop for a minute, just relax yourself.
This moment will never come back again. It's sad you never thought I was good enough.
Roller Dragon, I love to hear that, man. Hey, shout out to you. You got this, okay?
It's all a bluff. It's all a bluff.
Six Dragon Daddy, Shay T, good morning, y'all. Latif, school day is yours, right, brother? Wake up! My favorite movie.
I've been thinking, 'cause I don't wanna waste my precious time. Always looking for the next best thing. Do it
Y'all know it, that's right, School Days, School Days. That's my movie, man.
so are you
You're a jigaboo, running all over the
I
town.
mean, don't get me wrong, but what happened? Or was I not the one you dreamt of? No, no, no. It's the life we live, will never be enough. Why don't you stop for a minute? Just relax yourself. This moment
And if you have not, y'all, make sure that you follow our social media pages. Follow our social media pages. Like It or Not Show on Instagram and Facebook. Like It or Not Show on Instagram and Facebook, man. Now make sure that y'all get it. Go follow. You know we're going down, y'all. Let's go. That is dope, Roller Dragon. Hey, you need to make sure you send me some beats, okay? Right, Latif. But she look.
You ain't gotta stand in the mirror with your makeup on, cause you know that take way too long. I just want that right now, girl, you Uber outside, I can't wait.
Shout out to everybody that take way too goddamn long getting ready in the morning to go out, do anything. I appreciate y'all. Not really, but I appreciate y'all. Good morning, Mom and Daddy.
Girl, you know I'm impatient. Don't keep it away. Girl, it's been too long. You know what I've been craving. Girl, I'm trying to taste it. You know what I like. Don't to get freaky in the night. When she hit the room, you know it's on sight. And she all on my type. And you know I don't like to wait. No.
Y'all come on in, get situated, get settled, y'all.
Stand in the mirror with your makeup on, cause you know it takes way too long.
Lisa Noel.
Girl, you outside, I can't wait just to get this on. You want it right now.
Esther, good morning. Happy Hump Day. Good morning, good morning. Brother Chuck, I know you. Don't break nothing this morning, all right, sir?
He don't need to be around when I'm taking you down. Damn, that drink too strong. We can roll up. Now, baby, just hold up. Say you got a friend, bring it in. We can do what you wanna. I know you need it. Not to sound conceited, but I complete you. I don't wanna wipe you up, no. But she look good. You ain't gotta stand in the mirror with your makeup on, cause you know that take way too long. I just want that.
Shout out Tyler, good morning.
We've been fighting every day now. It's hard to breathe, yeah, I think you need to break down. I don't know what to say now, cause everything I do just don't feel right. You been going through my phone like
Roller Dragon, yes they are. Both channels should be up and running, so you can stream this on the Like It or Not channel, or you can stay right here on the Benjamin Dixon Show channel, y'all. Both channels are up and streaming right now.
Jesus, alright. You don't mean it. I don't wanna try no more now. So late.
Brenda Johnson, good morning.
I hear you say it's alright. It's too late.
Chris Olsen, I think it's a couple of more people that's up around the same time. They probably just now getting ready to go to bed themselves. So good night to you. There we go. Shout out to Georgia Fort on the clock with Georgia Fort, y'all. That's what just ended. Tongue tied this morning, always. Shout out to Georgia Fort, man. We appreciate you. You know what, Shay T? I can't remember if I did. I think I did see bits and pieces of it. So yeah, I had to make sure I sit down and watch it. Yep, it wasn't on Netflix. Oh, you know what? Yes, I did watch it. It was pretty good. Throwback, y'all.
Telling me I'm crazy, trying to put me wrong in every fight, knowing that I'm right. Why you trying to wreck me?
That's right, Loki is on today. Six Dragon Daddy, thank you for reminding me. Yes.
Where you tried before this ends. You love me and I love you, but butting heads is what we do. Bullheaded, stubborn, wild, crazy lovers. You love me and I love
If ain't nobody else dancing, I'm getting my chair dance on this morning, y'all. Good morning to y'all. Welcome to Like It or Not. Oh, baby, we're fire.
Feed the flame, we're fire. Oh, we're fire. Say you love me and I love you, but butting heads is what we do. Bullheaded, stubborn, wild, crazy lovers. You love me and I love you. Why can't we just match the two? Why we get so mean? Light the match, I'm kerosene. Why you tryna play me? Telling me I'm crazy. Sitting on the other side of me. Always cross-examining. Don't you think it's silly? Why won't you just trust me? Why can't you just look me in the eye? And no, I never lie. Why you tryna play me? Girl, I see your face every Tell me that I'm crazy. When I'm going out, you'll be there.
Evergreen, I appreciate you.
I'm losing my mind. Tryna go to work, but I lost track of time. Wanna call me out in front of keep looking like you. I can't take no more. I miss your touch from your hands and your body. It hurts so much to think of you as someone else. Can't get enough.
Lord, man, I appreciate y'all. Y'all making me blush. Y'all stop. Good morning, y'all. Good morning.
Put your arms around me, put your faith in me, put your love on me. Stop the clock and rewind. Go back to that moment in time when you say you want me for life. Was it all a lie? I gave my all to deserve ya. Begging on my knees just to show ya you're the one I want and I love ya. No, 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 no lie. I miss your touch from your hands and your body. It hurts so much to think of you as someone else.
Shout out, Bob. You know I do what I can. Lisa Noel, Loki is on Disney Plus.
Put your arms around me, put your faith in me, put your love on me. What you need from me, need your love on me, put your love on me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the hardest working people in the morning, y'all. It is time for Like It or Not, y'all. It's about to go down.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday, hump day.
Good morning. Your mic is on, Rebecca. No? Well, good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth.
And not care who does.
Oh, that mic's not on. Your other
it's
mic
the
is
computer
on.
mic. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and hit that settings button and switch your microphone over. Good morning to everyone in all the different chat rooms, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all the places. DJ Exclusive. How you doing this morning, man? You rocking?
I'm great, man. How y'all doing this morning? I figured some stuff out. Like I got my headphones hooked to the microphone so I can stream all the music and everything through the microphone and hear it in the headphones.
There it is.
I still gotta have the two channels open, but yeah, I'm good. And it's no echo, which is awesome.
Yeah. That's
here.
that is. There she is.
Rebecca.
Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning. Do you see me? I'm trying.
We see it through the FAMU internet connection, but we still see you, Rebecca.
Yes, it's still giving. Is it still giving FAMU internet connection? Because I've been.
Yeah, it looked like it's buffering.
Meanwhile, my yoga mat is on the floor. It was a tough day. It's just a lot happening. Don't worry about my yoga mat. That will be moved briefly. But good morning, guys. How are you? It's just been like one of those mornings for me. Just trying to get all this stuff to going.
Seriously.
Let me move my corporate computer out of the way. And how are you guys doing this morning?
I mean, I'm good. It's just another day. The sun is shining, so I'm just living life. What about you?
It's really another day. The sun is shining. Like I said, started off a little rough this morning, but here I am. Not rough, but it was just like I was running around, after my trying to be like, after do all, and I'm like, oh shoot, it's 8:50. It was it was crazy.
She out there living her best life, and DJ Exclusive on here mixing. Over there meditating still. DJ Exclusive over here mixing. Get ready to start the show.
I was like, I need to get myself today. I feel like what kind of energy is trying to hit me in the head this morning? I gotta get it right. I gotta get me together. Right. And so I had to do that before I got on the show to make sure that I'm giving you guys, giving you the best that I got.
Come on now.
Oh, yes. You gave me Anita.
Yeah, no, that was a real Anita. There was some Anita in there.
Yeah.
Y'all stupid.
Well, we gotta, there's a whole lot, so much happening around the world. Rebecca, which way you want us to go?
I want us to start with, for sure, because Juneteenth is coming up, right? And I wanted us to definitely take a bit to discuss the Senate passing a bill to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. Yesterday, it was a unanimous vote that the Senate came up with making, or not a federal holiday, because it's not a federal holiday yet. It is a national holiday. They unanimously passed it, amen, to make Juneteenth a national holiday here in America. And I just feel like, hit me up when it's a federal one. Here's my thing. Does that mean that we get reparations?
No.
Does that mean that we get the day off?
Well, to be sure, they are trying to make it a federal holiday. They are trying to nationalize it, but it's not. I mean, this was just the first step. They still got to go through the House, and they still have to get President Biden to sign. I mean, I don't think they're gonna have any problem signing this, because this isn't, like you said, is this reparations? Is this police reform? Is this something that's actually substantive? No, it's a holiday. Cool, we appreciate it.
I mean, what are you guys gonna do with that? I mean, are you taking the day off? Are you going to say, well, Bubba,
man, of course.
Look, because I'm looking like, well, Bubba, are you taking the day off? How are you going to?
Is that this Friday? You mean, are we taking a day off? That's what you.
Girl,
I didn't know what you were talking about. I was thinking about back when I was in corporate America. I would take any holiday they would let me take off. I would take off. But am I going to take off from doing the show on Juneteenth? I don't know. We could use a day. What did I miss?
Y'all.
So, well,
with me,
if they pass it by now, if it's signed into law by Friday, we'll take the day off.
Because corporate child, they don't count that as a holiday, so my ass will be at work, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say that. So Ben, here at Like It or Not, I understand that possibly we may have the day off just because we're Black. But at our corporate jobs, it's not going to be something I think that's actually recognized, especially it's going to take a while. That's why I say, because it isn't considered federal right now, they're going to just work off that and say, I mean, it's a national holiday, but not anything that we have to celebrate. But understanding that Juneteenth for Black people, historically for Black people in America, and especially those who have their roots and heritage right here in America, that day means a lot, because that's the day that a lot of people understand that their freedom. That's where, listen, they ain't even give us Texas got it the last second, right? To understand that they were free. Right. So, that was Black folks' freedom in America. And that was after the Emancipation Proclamation. That was after that. And it took a few years for it to reach out to Texas, right? To get over to those people in Texas. And here is where I think I'm bothered the most, because July 4th doesn't represent us. July 4th doesn't represent our freedoms. July 4th doesn't include Black people. So Juneteenth, without a doubt, should be the time that we get, the Black people automatically get the day off to celebrate their
to celebrate their freedom and their independence. And it shouldn't be without question. But like I said, they're going to try to throw us a curveball to just be like, yeah, I ain't getting a day off, but happy Juneteenth. Come on and bring your happy behinds to work.
Get no reparations, but happy Juneteenth.
That's it.
And I know my company, you know, what my company does is have other clients come into it and work with us. So I know that client that I work with, they ain't gonna do it.
Okay,
I can say so much.
Your availability to be off over holidays depending on your clients.
On that client. They'll give us that certain time frames and holidays that we'll have. But I mean, either way it goes, we're still open.
Yeah.
You're still open. And I know these people, they not going. If I could just tell y'all who it was, I would. Then y'all would understand.
I know. Yeah. Don't say it on air. We don't need. You know, we haven't liberated you guys completely from corporate America yet. So we need you to keep the name of your company. Keep that nice and private. So Rebecca, let's jump here because we have a guest who's in the waiting room, and Julia Rock. And she's dealing with the issue that I think is important to Black people, especially Black people in New York. Julia Rock is a reporter for the Daily Poster. And last week, Rebecca, you'll recall, we spoke with Jabari Brisport, and he was talking about the Medicare, the single payer system that they're trying to get in New York. Julia, thank you so much for joining us. Your recent reporting,
Good morning, Julia.
At the Daily Poster, you're telling us about a backroom deal to kill single payer, but this is not a backroom deal being committed by Republicans. This is a backroom deal being put together by some Democrats to block this legislation that will help people get insurance, because we need some insurance out here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. So this was, as you had said, a bill to pass single payer in New York State. And it's a bill that's passed the state assembly, I think, 5 times over the past decade. And in 2019, when New York Democrats took back the state Senate, I think it was kind of expected that this bill would be able to pass the legislature, and it hasn't passed the Assembly or the Senate since then. And now Democrats have supermajorities in the state Senate and the state Assembly. And when the legislative session ended last Thursday, the bill had not passed either. Additionally, the bill had co-sponsorship from enough people to pass both the Assembly and the Senate. And what I kind of learned in the course of the reporting is a huge part of the reason why this bill did not come to a vote, despite having enough votes to pass, was that some of the big public sector unions in New York State were opposing the legislation and pressuring Democratic leadership in the state not to pass the bill. So the session came to a close last Thursday. The single payer bill didn't even come up for a vote. And that's the second time that a state with Democratic supermajorities has had the opportunity to pass a single payer bill and not done so. The other example was California in 2017.
Just recent. I was just thinking about the fact that California pulled the same thing. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Why do you think Democrats are afraid of jumping on this particular bill, the single payer bill? You would think that this would be something that is democratic, right? Progressive, right? Moving forward on helping everybody. And what we wanted is for them to have full control, and they have control. And it seems that they are at the forefront of blocking this blessing for the people of New York. So why do you think that is?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty sad because, obviously the goal is to win these elections and then be able to pass the progressive legislation that people ran on. I think New York is an example where there's a lot of power concentrated, at the top in leadership, and kind of in past years with Cuomo, although this year maybe he didn't quite have the power to be blocking things he didn't want done. And, if you talked to Jabari Brisport last week, that there was a really impressive organizing campaign behind this legislation. I do think that, and, this is what I was hearing from folks in New York, the opposition from the unions was incredibly challenging because they form such an important constituency for the Democrats in New York State. And the statements from union leadership. It was the United Federation of Teachers, and then some of the other public municipal employee unions, was basically, we've sacrificed wage increases to bargain for healthcare in the past. And we made that sacrifice, so we don't kind of want to lose that work that's been done. The argument doesn't really make any sense, because the single payer bill would offer them pretty similar benefits to what they're getting right now. And it's, they're kind of throwing all of the other people who don't have great healthcare from their unions under the bus. So that was pretty sad to see as well. But I think that when, one of the big constituencies, in addition to all of the opposition from the healthcare industry that is notoriously really powerful, are coming out, against a bill, it's hard to overcome that with any amount of, good organizing.
Yeah.
I can't help but think that these leaders, I think this is bad faith, right? Now I hear the argument from the teachers union that and I don't agree with their argument, but at least they have an argument that they worked hard for the benefits that they currently have, and they sacrifice wage increases. That's an argument. It doesn't hold weight, because now you don't have to negotiate for health care. You could take that completely outside of the equation. You can get more benefits. I mean, you can get more salary, because now you don't have to focus on negotiating for your healthcare benefits. It's an argument, but it's not an argument. It's one that I don't agree with. On the other side, these elected politicians who have the responsibility of looking on behalf or representing all of the people, not just one particular group of constituents, not just the teachers union, right? They know better. They know that these politicians know that Medicare for all is a net plus for teachers. It's a net plus for Black people. It's a net plus for all marginalized communities. So why are these politicians? It's the same question Rebecca asked, I guess, just from a different angle. Why are they not actively pushing this, let alone making backroom deals to block it?
I mean, yeah, it's a good question. I'm not sure I have a great answer, besides that I think this is what we've been seeing from, leadership in the New York State legislature for a long time. I think, if they wanted single payer to pass, it would be pretty easy. They have the votes. They're kind of the ones who are actively going against what the majority of legislators in their own party want. So I think it's some combination of, one, this is legislation they actually don't want to pass. They're not true progressives, and I'm not sure would even really claim to be. And then I think also aren't kind of courageous enough to stand up to an industry that is really powerful, the health insurance industry, do something that's really going to piss them off and maybe set a precedent, for single payer legislation to pass in other states.
Do you think that this specifically will affect people of a certain race when it comes to this this particular legislation, especially in New York, where is it a thing where majority of the minorities there can't have access to healthcare, and this might affect them even worse than the others?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know the exact statistics on it, but I think there are kind of two factors at play here. The first is that, one massive impact of the pandemic was that the unemployment rates between Black people and other people of color and the white employment rates, there were massive disparities between those, and a lot of people get their healthcare from their employers. So there was kind of a disproportionate impact of people losing their healthcare in those racial disparities in the unemployment rates. And then I think the other factor, and this is something the organizers working on the New York Health Act talked about a lot, is that there just are massive disparities in who is insured in New York and who isn't. And again, those fall along racial lines. White people are more likely to have health insurance than Black people and Latino people and other people of color.
Rebecca, we talk about this all the time. We talk about your experiences with the healthcare industry, my experiences with the healthcare industry, or whatever, however we want to describe them. We talk about the fact that there is a disparate treatment between Black people in the healthcare systems. And then if we look at COVID-19, we see essential workers who may or may not have had coverage during the pandemic. We see there's a number of people who died because they did not have coverage during the pandemic. That number of people, they were disproportionately Black. And then just all the way down the line, we see this happening across the country, disproportionately affecting Black people. Julia, one of the things I would like to know from you, and Rebecca, actually your insight on this as well, is how do we change this narrative of, because there's a big financial push against us getting single payer healthcare system, getting something like Medicare for all. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry that is fighting against us. How do we break through on that narrative? Because a lot of times when we talk about Medicare for all, automatically people think, oh, Bernie bros. But truth is Black folks need this too, Rebecca and Julia, from your perspective, like, how do we change that narrative?
What narrative exactly?
The narrative that a single payer system is somehow not progressive, not beneficial to Black people, not beneficial to marginalized groups, not beneficial to women, hell, not even beneficial to teachers, because that's part of your reporting, is how they're downplaying this because they think it's not, that they don't think it's critical, but it's a critical element for survival. We got to be able to see our doctors, especially during a pandemic.
Yeah, no, and I think COVID did really kind of lay that bare in a lot of the disparities we were seeing, both in infections and in deaths between white folks and other racial groups. I mean, I think that, kind of as you pointed out earlier in this call, it's important to realize that the people opposing this legislation are just acting in bad faith and kind of not take what they're saying at face value. I honestly think even the statements from the unions, I'm not really sure if they believe that, there's some calculus to be made about having negotiated for past benefits, and kind of therefore this would not be good for them. I think a lot of the arguments, against single payer are in bad faith. And, despite the fact that this bill didn't get a vote, there was a pretty impressive organizing push behind it, kind of in the final days before the legislative session ended. The organizers staged like die-ins at the State House. There were massive canvassing campaigns. And so I think that there really, is no substitute for that kind of organizing and kind of teaching people about how this type of legislation will help them.
Yeah, I agree with you, Julia. I mean, mobilizing around and getting people to understand exactly what this bill or what this legislation entails, and keeping them up on how it could benefit them, and just for them to continue to help push it as well. The more that we educate people and get them to understand how this will benefit them, and how it doesn't benefit them, and who's fighting against it, and how they can fight, because there's so many different ways to fight, right? If we educate people on it, they can use their platforms, whether on social media, whether when people are out mobilizing in the streets, to spread the message on what's going on. I think all of these things assist in pushing us a step further, changing the narrative, first of all, pushing us a step further into getting something such as, like you said, Ben, Medicaid for all, single payer, something like that for everyone. And particularly, I think they what happens is they don't want the minorities really to understand what's going on. They just don't want that information to get to them so that they can go ahead and pass this by. And usually minorities in places where none of that information gets to, they just think that's an okay living. Like, this is what it's supposed to be, not knowing that there is something out there that could possibly be on the table, but it's being blocked and fought against. And here's how you can get the word out. And here's how we can mobilize and challenge our leaders to help us get this put in place. So I think that's just another way that we could do that.
Absolutely. Agree. Absolutely. They can't afford to let working people actually have the freedom of healthcare. They can't, because they won't be able to keep us at these raggedy jobs they have us at. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
At all. No. Well, thank you so much, Julia. Let the people know where they can find you, and know more about the things that you're doing as well.
Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, so our reporting is at dailyposter.com, and it'd be great if you check it out. And then we're also on Twitter at dailyposter.
Okay, definitely. You guys follow the Daily Poster and follow Julia. Is that your? Is it JUL1A Rock? That's you on Twitter, right?
Julia Rock. Yeah.
Okay. So that's your Twitter up on there because I was on your Twitter earlier today, and I see that you're fighting the same fight with us when it comes to calling out the Joe Biden and his administration on things that they aren't doing well, things that they've promised that they haven't come through with. So I see that we're all in this fight together. So make sure you give her a follow on Twitter and the Daily Poster as well. Thanks again for joining Like It or Not this morning. You enjoy the rest of your day, Julia.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you,
No
Julia.
problem.
They can't let us get no insurance, Rebecca.
Mm-mm.
They cannot let us get the freedom of not having to work some random job just so that we could, go see a doctor.
Mhm.
If they gave us that, man, too many black folks would be free around here.
Free, eyes be free, eyes be free. The only reason why I'm at my job because Master say he gonna give me health insurance, and I can't afford health insurance, so I'm over here with the Master for health insurance because I wouldn't be there if it wasn't for that.
Oh, Master said he gonna give us health insurance.
Master said he got health
Rebecca,
insurance.
we can go to the doctor now, Master.
He's a good Master.
Man, he's a good
You
old
okay,
Master.
boss?
He don't got
You
me
okay,
inside
boss?
the house, but he got me outside in the field with health insurance.
Is we sick, boss? Can we go see a doctor today, boss?
I can pick 1,000 pounds of cotton, but I got health insurance, boss.
Listen, y'all only gave me the back of the pig, but it's doing something to my insides. Gotta go see the doctor.
You gotta go see the doctor. We only get the insides of the pig, the hog maws, the chitlins, the intestines, the boo-boo, the pig feet, the ears, the tail, all of that. Thank you, boss. We appreciate it.
My blood pressure might be 200 over 120, but thank you for the health insurance.
Just had a baby yesterday. Got me back in the fields. Only got 2 days off. Which is equal to 6 weeks.
Juneteenth,
baby.
What do you mean? We get Juneteenth off? Oh, we got here, Master. We out here.
All right, Master. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Master. We finally got the day off. Oh, it's optional. Our corporation don't get it. Our big house don't get it. Our plantation don't get it over here. But the plantation down the street got it.
It's only for the people in the big house. Oh, so you talking about the ones in the field? We can't get
only
it.
for the mulattoes.
The mulattoes, and we ain't talking about the one that same best friend either.
Good afternoon, my octoroon. What are you talking about?
Oh, that was a good skit. I love that skit.
Oh man, look here. The things we do for some health insurance.
Listen, the things we have to do, how we have to shuck and drive. I got to be over there. Y'all know I don't want to be there. Y'all know every day I talk about that damn job. And the only reason I am there is because they give me health care.
Insurance.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I really need the healthcare insurance. Having to make sure I'm good, take care of myself. It's very expensive, especially for women out here in this healthcare system. And we can't afford us having to do so many things with our bodies, things that may go wrong or whatever, and we can't afford. Okay.
Right.
Every time I look up, they done something from my surgery that I did about 3 years ago. I got a notification that stated to me, this damn earpiece, y'all, is getting on my nerves. But
you got to put both of them in. You got to look like Uhura off of Star Trek with both things popping out.
Yes, Captain.
Yes, boss.
Ahead, Rebecca,
we off today, boss.
Yes, boss.
But
we gonna wait.
Let me try to put it in.
We're receiving a transmission from the Romulans. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Okay.
We're receiving a transmission from the head slave masters that say that
it's not giving what it's. It is definitely giving me Star Trek right now with my hair.
You definitely look like what's her name? Uhura.
Yeah.
I can never say her
We're
name
not the
right.
two, but I got the
what you
one.
gotta do. What you gotta do?
Me. I'll try later.
You put them in, and then you wrap them around the front of your ears. That way, the gravity is pulling down instead of out.
No, I had him in the wrong ear.
Oh,
we'll
that would help too.
Oh man.
Anywho, well, I got charged recently for an old one, and that's what an old bill recently.
You got charged? You mean they just took it out of your account?
Back when I was working for the other people that we were working for who didn't give us health care, and we had to go get health care. They literally was like, "Oh, we're going to give you health care," and they were like, "Well, you guys can go do Obamacare," and we ended up doing that. And when I had did that, I'm thinking, okay, I got healthcare, whatever the case may be, and it's getting on my nerves. And then after that, I was thinking I had healthcare, or whatever the case may be, and I went and tried to get the proper care that I needed for the surgery. I had a lot of things I had to do. And then they had charged me so many little things just for going to see him, just for doing all this stuff. I didn't know I was being charged any of that. So later on, they began to charge me through the years. And then I thought I cleared it off. And just recently, they found another way to charge me. And they put that on my credit that I worked so hard to fix, y'all.
Oh.
And just recently, like a few days ago, I'm like, why did my credit go down like this? Like, I'm trying to buy a house. Like, what's going on? And it was all because they put on something from then that I couldn't pay for, pulled it out of nowhere. And y'all, when I looked at what it was literally just me coming in there and for them to look at the surgery site, like to make sure it was healed.
Oh, they charged you for that?
Wow. Yeah, I was charged over like $1,000 for that.
Yeah.
And it was
Sounds
put
about
on
right.
my credit recently after I cleaned up years of my credit, and it brought me way
Listen,
down.
let me tell you why I don't care about credit no more. I took every day, every month for years fixing and working on my credit, get my credit score up. I was late with a car payment. This was years ago when we first moved to Boston. I was late with my car payment by 2 months. And I guess they had just been tired of me totally. Like they were like, listen, Larry, forget it. We're gonna come to get the car. And I'm like, I done paid y'all on time, ahead of time, all this stuff for the last 2 years straight. I done got my credit score up, and y'all gonna come repossess my car just because y'all got it. And then that tanked my credit. I said, you know what? I'm buying everything cash from now. I ain't got time. Put what you want to put on my credit. I'm not dancing for your credit score. I'm not dancing. Well, I got to rent. Fine. I'm gonna have a nice rental house. Oh, if I gotta buy a car, I'm gonna buy something I get to buy cash because I ain't paying y'all 36%, 18%, 12% interest. Nah, I'm not playing y'all games no more. So I'm living the cash life. They can keep the credit.
Same way. I spent when I was married, we got credit fixed and everything, repaired all our credit, and just should have did research more. But man, after that, took a year and a half, 2 years, repaired both of our credits and got it up just really good. And then just went to hell. I'm just like, you know what, man? Bump this credit stuff.
Bump that.
Cash.
I ain't got time.
You go rent this house, apartment.
Shoot.
I'm good.
Yeah. But it's crazy. I hate that. Like, before we get to this next story, I really hate that we have to go through all of that. And that's another way to keep especially Black people down. Me working for the particular company that I work for, I get to see a lot of people in their finances. And that's what actually motivated me to get my finances together. And I did a really good job because I wanted also the buying power. I didn't want to be somebody on the other side of it. But I do understand exactly what Ben is saying too. It's all a lie at the end of the day. Because when I finally got to a point where I was like, okay, I can get this and I can get this, which I was able to get the things that I needed, when I got my credit up. But then when it comes to things like buying homes, they still look at you.
Oh, sheesh.
Oh, man.
It's not the credit. They still will look at you. My ex, he had to put in different names in his credit. He got his credit good, but he had to put in different names when applying for because he was in the Airbnb business, and so for him to get different places and stuff, he had to put a different name for them to just consider him for the place, because as soon as they would find out that he was Black and he was cultural, it would be different. But because he had like a different name and he had the credit, they automatically assumed and attached him to, okay, we'll give it to him. And once they seen him, they couldn't do anything else about it. This big Black dude who has an African accent, they're just like, whatever, just take the place. But honestly, it was like, it's if you are,
what's better, white guilt or white fear? I'm sorry, go ahead, Rebecca.
I don't know what's worse. The buying power is important, but they don't even want us to have that. They don't even want us to have that, and that's where the issue lies. They want us to struggle at every single part of it. Me and my girlfriend was just talking about it yesterday. We're like, okay, let's start looking for credit cards. We don't like credit cards. Me and her do not like credit cards, because credit cards literally put us in more debt if you don't pay it, if you don't spend a certain percentage of it. If you have to know those things, and sometimes when tough gets the tough, you reach for your credit card, and
Oh, hell
now
yeah.
you're way down the line, all because you utilize it to help you pay a bill, and now you're way down the line because of your usage.
Yeah.
So it's like, get a credit card, don't use it, get your credit up. It's so stupid.
Don't use it, but if you don't pay attention to it every month, because they're gonna charge you that $5 fee to just keep that card every month.
Oh
right?
yeah, and
They
then
have
the yearly fees that come up with
the
it.
yearly
Because I work with businesses. Yeah, I work with businesses, and that's where that's where I specifically work with is businesses and their credit cards, and to see a lot of them that are so good on keeping their payments up and together. And the moment that they are behind just a little bit,
it spirals.
It spirals out of control. The company will find every fee for you to definitely
listen.
pay.
When somebody says to me now, Mr. Dixon, you're not approved, I'm like, okay, good. I'll move on. I don't have to have it. I don't want y'all stuff. I don't want your cars. I don't want your big houses. I don't want nothing that requires me to plug more into your system and sell more of my soul just so I can get some health insurance because now I got to work a 60-hour-a-week job just to be I'm good.
But that's crazy because I do want the car. I do want the home. And I want everything that you guys don't want to give to us. And I just hate that we got to do 6 jobs for it. I don't like being or feeling or looking poor. I don't have to. But they want us to feel like it's a struggle and we don't deserve. We just do not deserve
for your camera to go out like that,
bro.
Look at James. James looking hella poor.
He's looking look, ain't no light bill, ain't nothing.
Look,
and
it's already looking the same color like I was already. I'm like, damn, I'm already looking black. Damn.
Beautiful and
black.
Smile,
James. Smile, James.
Beautiful and black. Beautiful and black.
Oh man.
Speaking of beautiful and black, that's something that Marjorie Taylor Greene is not. And
I was like, wait, what story is she segueing into with that? That was good.
That is something
that
Marjorie Taylor Greene is not. And she actually is coming into a moment where I think that she's, apologetic about a couple of things that she said I'm shocked too about a couple of conspiracy theories that she's thrown out there. I guess she visited the Holocaust Museum recently, and for the things that she said, like the conspiracy theories that she's tied to, with the disrespect that she's tied to the people who went through the Holocaust, she now has an apology. She has a change of heart. Let's take a look at what she said.
I want to remind everyone I'm very much a normal person, and I think it's important for me to always be transparent and honest. And I just want to tell you all I'm really, really lucky. I am blessed with amazing parents, and my dad just passed away in April. But I will say he taught me some great things, and one of the best lessons that my father always taught me was when you make a mistake, you should own it. And I have made a mistake, and it's really bothered me for a couple of weeks now, and so I definitely want to own it. This afternoon, I visited the Holocaust Museum. The Holocaust there's nothing comparable to it. It happened, and over 6 million Jewish people were
Now she got the facts.
More than that, there were not just Jewish people, Black people, Christians, all kinds of children, people that the Nazis didn't believe were good enough or perfect enough. And the horrors of the Holocaust are something that some people don't even believe happened, and some people deny, but there is no comparison
What the hell?
to the Holocaust. And there are words that I have said, remarks that I've made that I know are offensive, and for that I want to apologize. And I am just fine and very glad to be able to come out here and do that, because I believe it's important. I believe that if we're going to lead, we need to be able to lead in a way where if we've messed up, it's very important for us to say we're sorry. And
I love the very beginning of this, Rebecca, where she's like, actually, just play it again, just the first sentence. Run the first sentence again, David. I'm very much a normal person.
So
if you got to start your speech like
you
that,
know you
you're
crazy.
not a normal person.
You know you're a terrible person at that. You know, because that's Cece's a narcissist. And
Right.
those are the type of people who will do something terrible, just mess up everything, and then turn around and give their self credit. And label themselves as something that they are not. And she will never hold herself accountable. This was in the moment where the narcissists do this too. They'll utilize words and they'll try to take the empathy. But what do they do? They're not placing it on you and how they've hurt you. She's placing it on herself and saying, now that I've seen the light, I deserve for everyone to forgive me for the past things that I've said, my past transgressions. And this is literally, her apology is literally for her repeatedly comparing coronavirus precautions to the oppression of Jews by Nazi Germany last month, declaring that she's removing those comparisons. That's what she said. I'm going to remove those comparisons. Basically, I'm going to take back what I said of the mask mandates. And this is something that I believe goes hand in hand with her conspiracy theories, right? She had those up on site, right? And she had a lot to do with a lot of people not wearing masks. A lot of her people not wearing masks. They would cite her as an example and use her example as well, saying that they feel like they are, Jews are part of the Holocaust and the leader is like Hitler. And this is all for wearing masks. They felt like, to say that about a whole nation of people who were forced, their lives were taken, who were in gas chambers, who were in camps, just because to wear a mask to save your life and the lives of the people around you. The disrespect, the utter disrespect. And then this is the same woman that made her comments when it came to the terrorist, the domestic terrorist, the white domestic terrorist here, and for her supporting the gun laws and things like that. The conspiracy theories that she put with the Sandy Hook and all those things that she put out there.
Oh, don't forget the Jewish lasers, the lasers from space.
Right, the wildfires.
This is the same woman. This is the same woman who has an issue with LGBTQIA plus community and literally was taunting her coworker across the way. This is the same woman, but she's telling you, forgive me for what I said, not let me come and let me really, I'm sorry because I hurt you guys. I hurt a nation of people. No, forgive me for what I said. And let's move on from it.
And remember, I'm a normal person.
And I'm a normal person.
And my dad just died back in April. I'm so sorry. Yeah. So sorry for your loss.
I too have feelings. Yes. I too can be cut and bleed the same blood as you.
Right.
We are one.
She's trying the opposite side of the Karen card. The front hand side of the Karen card is the fact that they'll call the police on you. They'll call you some Jewish space lasers and wearing a mask is Nazi Germany. That's Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's the front side of her. On the flip side are the white tears. Oh, guys, I'm such a normal soccer mom. My dad died in April, and he taught me a wonderful lesson that when you're wrong, you can admit it. And like all of a sudden,
I have black friends.
In the lower third is killing me here. Marjorie Greene discovers the Holocaust. All of a sudden, she discovered the Holocaust. She went to the Holocaust Museum, and everything's fine now. She's forgiven.
It's perfect.
How long ago? Like you're just now. That's what it is for me.
No, but she thought she knew.
The Holocaust?
She was strong and wrong. She thought she knew.
Strong and wrong.
Here's where it is for me. It was when she thought she knew. She cited the Holocaust to give her argument that masks are causing people not to breathe, causing people to feel like they're oppressed people. The people who wear masks or forced to wear masks are oppressed people, and we need to free them. We need to let our people go. And she made sure she cleaned up for this moment too. And this is where you're giving information that's incorrect, and you finally get information. Now you feel one with the people who have died, feel one with the people who have lost their lives, for the people who you've hurt by saying that. And because you feel one with them, they need to extend their forgiveness to you. Not you literally apologizing to a community of people and saying that you understand that you were wrong, you were at fault, and how you want to move forward to help their communities. Like, this is girl, you're in position to start pushing for policies to assist those people, to assist people who are marginalized, to understand. And then for you need to open your mouth and say, I was wrong because I also put out a rhetoric that was incorrect. Having an opinion about the mask mandate is one thing, but putting out there a rhetoric and making it seem like it's Bible to a group of people, that's another. And I was wrong for doing so.
Rebecca, I like how you're framing this. I think the way you're framing it is actually really important for us to understand what Marjorie Taylor Greene is really doing here, and how what she's doing here ain't no different than what Democrats are doing to us. Let me stay with me, because
come on,
where's the organ?
Yeah, I need the organ. There you go. Somewhere around here, I got a keyboard. But no, for real, Rebecca, you're distinguishing the difference between someone who has centered themselves in an issue versus centering the victims of the issue, right? And gaslighters, this is what we do. You said it 2 or 3 times and I clicked. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I know that technique really well. Because it's what people do. Is what they do is that they try to connect with you on some emotional level without actually giving credence to the fact that you were the one that was harmed and that I was the one doing the harming. Marjorie Taylor Greene was the one actively doing the harming. She has centered herself in this conversation to be the one to receive the sympathy instead of showing empathy to the people, instead of actually doing anything for the people she harmed. And instead of actually doing anything for us, they love not only Marjorie Taylor Greene, not only the Democrats, just white America in general. They absolutely love giving us something that is like centers them. The Black Lives Matter flags in the window. It centers them.
Yeah.
You know,
then.
But when it's time for policies, we can't get the George Floyd bill passed, HR 1. We can't get voting rights protected. We can't get the filibuster overturned. So we can't get nothing. But they love putting them flags up.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. Hello.
Come on, Pastor, you in the house today.
Well, you do that one. You know you preach love.
And
Jesus said, Jesus. These Democrats ain't no good.
Well,
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Taylor Greene now.
Just learned about the Holocaust.
And what she said.
Holocaust.
She said.
Well.
Play around and I'll get a tune for real. Love. She said those space lasers.
Space lasers.
We're burning up the ground.
Oh, God.
She said that her stinky breath.
Stank Lord. Well.
In the mask is like the oppression by Nazi Germany, where you should brush your teeth.
Jesus.
You in the house today, Pastor. Marjorie Taylor Greene was wrong. She will be wrong. She was strong and wrong. She's still on the wrong side of the wrong. That is just what it is. Marjorie Taylor Greene does not stand a chance. And I don't forgive her. Next case.
Next case.
Oh, man. What we got next?
Look, because you already know. So what we have next is it looks like free college. Bill Mayer tears down the left-wing idea of giving free college to everyone instead of solving real problems in education.
Another white liberal who likes to say like they like us, they are ally, but don't want us to get nothing. That's
we'll make love to our beautiful black women.
Oh God,
love their bodies like nobody's
the best
business.
of the best from the black community.
You love them exotic as hell.
Yes, the ones that be in the videos giving us everything. That, you know,
speaking of which, did you see Megan Thee Stallion's video?
Definitely seen
thought
it.
stuff because that gives me Trump in the White House or Bill Mayer, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
right there gives me all that. Okay, I digress.
So that's the type of men that
I haven't seen Megan Thee Stallion.
Well, you should. You should.
You really should.
I've seen it twice.
You should. So Bill Mayer is the type of guys that are in that video while Meg Thee Stallion is doing what needs to be done. They like those black women, but they won't like.
Right.
They will not support issues that help out black women. So, and that includes education in America. So let's take a look at what he had to say.
President Biden's American Families Plan asks the taxpayers to pony up hundreds of billions so that everyone can go to college, and billions more for subsidized childcare so our kids can go to school while we go to school. But Biden's plan is an endorsement of a particular idea, that the more time humans spend in classrooms staring at blackboards, the better. I know free college is a left-wing thing, but is it really liberal for someone who doesn't go to college and makes less money to pay for people who do go and make more? And in the immortal words of her daughter, Olivia Jade, I don't know how much school I'm going to attend, but I do want the experience of, like, game days and partying. Yeah, I'm not paying for that. You know, I've heard this from so many nurses and teachers and administrators rolling their eyes when relating how they needed to take some course in order to advance in their field, when really they already learned what they need by working the job. And because it's so necessary, colleges can charge whatever they want. Since 1985, the average cost of college has risen 500%. What other business? It doubles every 9 years. Every year it increases at 4 times the rate of inflation. The answer isn't to make college free. The answer is to make it more unnecessary, which it is for most jobs.
Pull us back on screen.
So that the 2/3 of Americans who either can't afford to or just don't want to go don't feel shut out. Because the system we have sets up this winner-loser dynamic and breeds resentment that working hard has less value than sitting around in this thing. And that in turn feeds into our widening political division.
So, I'll say this. There are a few things I didn't disagree with him saying. I can't lie. But at the same time, you can't make the example Becky's daughter, Olivia Jade. And that's Aunt Becky from Full House. And we know that Aunt Becky, which I don't know her real name right now, but this is Aunt Becky from Full House. Just Google it and you guys will find her name. It's not coming to me right now, but she was a part of a test scandal to get her daughter into school. Like, they didn't have to do anything to get their daughters into these Ivy League schools.
White name, boy.
Not a thing. Just pay and get your daughter into school. Just know somebody in the system and get your daughter into the schools. And she didn't really serve that much time for something that if it was a black person. Well, actually, there's a black woman who had her son or daughter go to a school just a few blocks away and just used an address of somebody else and had 5 years in prison and 5 years in jail for it. And Aunt Becky only had a year or something.
She didn't even get a year.
Spent time, time served, and came back to her rich home and whatever. So, but don't use Olivia Jade, which is her daughter, Lori Loughlin. Don't use your daughter as an example. And I'm talking to Bill Mayer here. Don't use your daughter as an example for people like us, who literally go to school and we're taught that, and first of all, education is big, especially for black folks, because that's something that we weren't given. So growing up, we were taught you better go ahead and go get your education.
Yeah.
And, and that's the importance of it, especially for black people, right? So when it comes to us going to school, it's not necessarily about us, trying to break the system. I mean, that's a part of it too, leaving our whole church lives behind to go experience something better at a university and a school. But it's also for us to get an education. This girl saying what she said, coming from a rich family, that ain't our issue. We really thought, especially us millennials, right? And everybody before us, we believed that going to school, because there was a point in time that was a thing. Our degrees meant something in the United States of America. So yes, because of inflation and all this other stuff, it's changed things, especially in our education system. And if it's not that you guys are your taxpayers or whatever are paying for us to go to school to get paid, be paid more, whatever. The system is a messed up system, but it's messed up way more for the people who go to school really believing that once they get this degree, they're going to be able to get a job that pays them more. And they don't have the leeway of having a mommy and daddy who get them into the school to go just really party at an Ivy League school or whatever. They really are kids who are learning, doing 6 jobs, no sleep, trying to get into an Ivy League school to try to make it in life where they don't have to struggle.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right.
So his argument and him using her as an example, that doesn't relate to me. That doesn't relate to us, any of us on the screen right now. Like, give us something to work with. But you did put out little points there that honestly, going to school may be a little expensive. It has gotten really expensive.
What was that?
But go ahead, Ben. Think about that thought. But it does not mean that we really, who wants to work hard? Like, we don't want to work hard. We want to work smarter. And that's what we're moving towards. That doesn't mean that we're any lazier or anything like that. It doesn't mean that. And no matter what, minorities are always going to work harder. Minorities are always going to continue to work harder when it comes to the system, when it comes to education, when it comes to anything. So I say that anyways to say, like, whatever school or education process that you choose, make it work for you. I don't want him putting up the idea that, sometimes we tend to do that. Oh, I went to school for no reason. I went to school for whatever. Well, no, when we went to school, at the time that we went to school, we were told when we got out, we were going to get education. We were going to get a job. We were going to get those things. And it wasn't trying to be on nobody's taxpayer or whatever. Y'all paying for us to go to school or whatever. No, it wasn't. That wasn't it. That definitely was not the case. We really thought something was going to come of it. And for a lot of us, something did, but we still weren't getting the pay. We still weren't getting the pay.
Yeah. Still not getting the pay.
Still not getting the pay.
Still not. All these master's degrees. My wife got 2 master's degrees. I have a master's degree. Rebecca, you got a master's degree. Jay,
I got 3 degrees, right?
You got
3 degrees.
You got all these degrees and talent and raw talent.
Degrees and manganese. Okay, I already told you.
Degrees and manganese. Hello,
degrees and manganese, and it ain't enough. Okay, the manganese might appeal to a sugar daddy, but it ain't enough to keep me together. Okay, and the manganese I do that, but the degrees ain't giving me what needs to be given.
You paying for them degrees. The degrees ain't paying for you.
Right. Come on, somebody. And then you get to companies and be like, well, I am a master of all. I have a master's degree, and I have I also have an undergrad degree here, and I also have a specialty degree in this. So I can cover all bases here. Am I qualified? You're overqualified, sis. What? Well, maybe no. Did I say I have?
Could I just get some insurance? Then? Could I get some insurance?
Right. I went to a community college. Didn't finish. How about that? Okay. Well, now you seem like you could be qualified. Tell me more about how you're not qualified, so that I can put you into the qualifications for this job. That we can pay you the trash and feel good about paying you the trash.
Do you have insurance though?
Right.
I'll take the job. I'll take the job.
I'll take it. Okay. Cool. And then it'd be the ones that be like, so what about your degrees, girl? We don't care. We're still going to pay you this amount of money. So are you taking it or not? And then you get in there and be like, but I am worth. Okay, you got insurance, like you said, Ben. But you said you got insurance. I'm gonna.
I might take that 19 an hour. You give me that insurance. I might.
Right.
They called me for 3 weeks asking me because they knew I wanted that job, and they kept selling me on the insurance portion of it.
And then how quick? Like if you really, really, really want to get somebody, get them insurance. Let that insurance kick in quick. Don't let it take 90 days to kick in.
Oh no!
Oh, your benefits start right away, Mr. Dixon. And I was like, what?
After 1 week of work, every single
go see a doctor in a week.
Yes.
Right.
And when I tell you, I went and got my braces in 2 seconds. I was like, oh, and y'all pay for the cosmetic parts of it. Oh, I can go get checkups.
My teeth fixed.
Right. I can go get, because in New York they just snatching every tooth you got.
Yes, indeed.
They snatching every tooth, and everybody want to wonder why everybody missing a side tooth. That's because that's all they could afford on the health care that they was giving at the time. Everybody missing a side tooth out there. So,
No,
exactly.
let's count how many side teeth you missing. No, let's do that again.
Thank God that mine are further back. They get you right here, and they be like, "Why are millennials missing teeth right here?"
Because we couldn't afford a dentist. We did not have a dentist. I went to a dentist with a tooth that was pretty bad. And he was like, Mr. Dixon, we're gonna have to pull it, or else we're gonna do a root canal. And I don't have money for a root canal because I don't have insurance. This is years ago. And so I ended up paying. I was like, here, okay, so I can afford to get it pulled. I cannot afford to get it fixed. I can afford to get it pulled. That's America, right? But this is what the man did. The man couldn't get my tooth out. He sat there with a ply, with damn near, I think it felt like a whole tire pliers just trying to crank my tooth out. And I'm like, oh, I just had to tell him to stop.
Yeah.
And he had to give me a medicated pad to fix it, to insert in my tooth, to keep it from getting infected and keep it from getting from it getting any worse.
Like a cyst or something?
Until I could afford to get dental surgery.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Ben. I had
I
did not get dental surgery until I became a teacher.
Ben, I have a scar on my lip, y'all, from when I had what was happening? I had a toothache. And y'all know I don't even like. I remember we saying toothache just brings it on.
It makes my teeth starting to hurt.
Don't even talk about it. Don't talk about it. I was suffering with pain, and so I went and I was like, okay, I got this New York insurance. And I told you guys that was one of the things that I loved about New York. They gave you some type of insurance for free. You didn't have to just say you're poor, and they'll give it to you literally. And I was like, okay, so they like you go to the dentist and get it pulled. And I was like, pulled? I don't want to lose my teeth. Whatever. Finally, I was like, damn, let me just go. I'm dying.
Snatch it out.
I went and you guys
pull it out myself.
He pulled it. And listen, with tools that I'm like, sir. And he accidentally sliced my lip.
Oh, wow.
What?
And I have a scar here till this day. Like it's on the side. You know, I do have beautiful lips, but on the side of it, there's a scar, like right here.
Wow.
When I don't cover it with makeup. And he couldn't do it. Like I couldn't even get mad about it to him. He was like, we couldn't do what needed to be done, but we had to do something to get that damn tooth out. And I'm sorry. And let me just go ahead, dab that blood. You go on home and be safe, sis.
Don't you? I love it when dentists get a little hood because they be like, listen, ain't nothing else I can do for you, man.
And no, yeah.
Only thing I can do is cut this bitch in half.
Yeah. That's all I got. That's all I got.
That's all you got, bro.
I was like,
take it, leave it, bro. Let's take it, leave it. I don't want you to go out here.
You gonna
I give you some Vicodin. You need some Vicodin?
Yeah.
I hook you up with a little bit of Oxycontin.
That's it.
I can do that, but your tooth is messed up, man. You need surgery.
I'm like, take it out. My lip is jugged up. Couldn't even feel the cut. And I'm like, take it. Just
Drew,
take it.
Take it out.
You gonna feel a little pressure. You gonna feel a little pressure.
Oh my God.
I hate that.
Like, all right.
You know how many people have the same story that we all have?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Like, here's the thing with Bill Maher that I don't agree with. And actually, Rebecca, I want to go back to there's a thing that you identified properly 2 weeks ago, Rebecca. You said that this particular technique that they were using was to get people, I think it was the trans issue. And I think you were saying the trans bathroom issue or whatever, they'll use something to make you afraid. And then they find a way to get you in, and then they start introducing all this other stuff you disagree with.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
That's what Bill Maher is doing here.
Yeah.
He's making it seem that the average college experience is the Olivia Jade, whatever. This is what we should have. And then, of course, everybody's like, yeah, no, of course we don't want to be paying for rich people's school. What is the result? Poor people don't get their school paid for because he used that gateway. In this case, in both cases, it's gateway to bigotry. In the trans issue that you were talking about, they get something that you might agree with, and then they take you all the way in with the bigotry. With him, it's gateway resentment from white liberals who like to pretend like they like to do stuff for people. But the way you can get them out of doing something for people is by making them resentful. And that's what Bill Maher did. So now we're not going to get any college education paid for because Bill Maher made us resentful of Olivia Jade.
Yep. And exactly. And they use her as an example. And who can relate to that? All the rich people who follow the right wing rhetorics, and they're going to be using that to attack us who are going to school really so that we can live okay in this country. That's really exactly what we do. So you're right. They start off with the wrong thing. Start off with things that have nothing to do with us. But what it does is push that and normalize it on our side. And make that seem like that's the thing. With food stamps, all Black folks is using food stamps or on unemployment, and because they don't want to get jobs because they're lazy. And that is not why. That's because unemployment actually is paying more than my job did. So I want to stick on this so that I can be able to take care of my household and my kids while they're home from school.
Come on.
So yeah, they always want to change the rhetoric, change the ideas, and make it look like we're not doing what needs to be done when we're actually taking whatever benefits that we can find and to make our lives better, so that we can continue to work as hard as we need to, not as hard as we're forced to, on top of being forced to work hard being damn Black. Gosh.
Exactly. Period. Period. Pooh.
Anywho, we're taking it to the after the party.
Hey.
Let's go somewhere tonight and get it started. Hey, so right from the beginning, I was on it.
Yeah, we got a pretty
you
dope
felt
thing
these
going on.
vibes. Yeah, we do. Here go Ben. Here go Ben with the dope moment. Go ahead, Ben. I was waiting for it. It's been a minute since you dropped
3 days.
How long's it been since Ben got hype about this stuff?
3
right?
days.
You know what I mean? It's just been a couple days. Listen,
Ben been quiet about it, so I'm like, have we been doing all right? I think I don't know.
No. Listen. Here's what's dope. Like, it's all working out. I'll go see a doctor when I can get to one for my voice, but it works out that the less I talk, the better the shows are. I get to sit back and listen and not just throw some stuff here, sprinkle in here and there, but it saves my voice. But it's also like me taking those 2 days off last week really just, y'all are blossoming, y'all are shining, and I just want to see how far y'all can go. So that's all.
Yep, and for me though, as I said yesterday, though, Ben, you are a necessary force that I want here. I don't from the beginning, and it's not that I don't want you to go anywhere, but yeah, I still think that your voice is necessary because in the mix with our voices, stop making get right, light. Anywho, sorry for the early.
I thought she was talking to me. I was like,
no,
wait a minute. What I do?
Things that I didn't like. I didn't like the way the lights was doing things. But no, like and we are a good mix together. We all have different voices that speak to the different masses, but are saying the same thing essentially. And I think where I can't interpretate, you can, and where you can interpretate, Bubba can. And we all have different levels to this thing, but none of the levels mean that anybody is more educated than the other. It's just that we all know how to communicate with our particular audiences. And when they come together, they all communicate with each other the same way in the chat. So, it's a great thing that we're doing here. And you are a part of the equation.
Oh, no, I ain't going nowhere. I'm not going anywhere.
A plus B equals C. A plus B plus C equals D. And that's David and Dwayne.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going anywhere, obviously. But I think really what it, and we've talked about this. I've talked about it with James too. And I've talked about it with you, Rebecca. We're not like announcing anything. Actually, no, I actually already announced it to the podcast audience.
Are we? Oh, so
the podcast audience already know. They already know that this is Like It or Not with Rebecca Azor. We just haven't finished changing the title and the music and stuff. We gotta get some better music. Girl, we've been talking about that.
Girl, when is that?
We said that.
He said that?
Definitely. And I just, I'm glad that you dropped it to your audience here now so they can get their panties out of a bunch when the show does start to roll. Because at the end of the day, like, it is what it is. It's Like It or Not with Rebecca Azor, but it's going to be the same thing. It's just a name change. It's still going to be on the Benjamin Dixon Show. It's still going to be all of us three on here. It's Like It or Not with Rebecca Azor. I'm first in the marquee. It's Like It or Not with Rebecca Azor with Benjamin Dixon and with James Bubba Williams. It's all the same. It's Rebecca.
Please on that. Wait, David on the slide, on the main slide, where it says Like It or Not. Please. Well, actually, no, we want you in the middle there, though. You don't want to be on the first because we want woman in the middle.
Yeah, no, I like being where I'm at. I'm talking about on the marquee. You know, we've been fighting for this since 2017.
I ain't been fighting.
Ben did not want me on the marquee, and I kept saying, I used to get on the show like,
well, I didn't like you back then.
Yeah, he didn't like me, but I used to be so nice.
You didn't like me.
He didn't like my niceness, though.
You
That's
didn't
the
like
thing.
me either. You didn't like me either, Rebecca Azor. Don't even pretend.
I loved you, Ben, so much so that when you moved out of my office, I followed you and said, "Hey, Ben, how you doing?" And you were like, "Oh my God, this girl does not stop talking. Like, why does she keep following me?" And I'm like, "Just wanted to love on you today. What's going on? Do you want to talk about it? Is it okay?" Like, I just wanted to love on this man because I felt like something was wrong with him, and I didn't want him to be in the atmosphere that I was in. That was giving me a.
Well, we were in a tough atmosphere.
Yeah,
but I think what we're building here is, and James, we're not ready to do this. You and I have talked about it, but we're going to expand your set. Like, we're going to expand your set to a full set where people can have some options of what they listen to, how much music they want to hear. Do they want to hear all politics? They can hear all politics. They want to hear politics and music. They're going to be able to hear you. If they want to hear all music for the time that they spend with us, because you're a critical part to this. Because there's a community that we're building around us that is connecting with us. We're creating something symbiotically between all of us, the people who are watching, people who are listening, and the people who are doing it. And it's a beautiful thing. So that said, it's all going to expand. It's going to be Rebecca Azor, like or not Rebecca Azor, some name show to be titled, hosted by DJ Exclusive. We got Georgia Ford in the top of the show in the mornings. You got the Benjamin Dixon show. We got a little thing going on.
Yeah.
This is Jones.
So it's funny. Yeah, Ben, it's great. I love it. I thank you for
Rebecca's like, you're taking my time to discuss this though. So
but it's not even my, because I know I love to talk. But I know people are like, oh, hey, listen, I've been a part of Like It or Not. I've been a part of Like It or Not is and will always be something that I've been a part of for years. And I know that it started off with Benjamin Dixon when he first got on, and I had my segment called Reality Check with Rebecca Azor, and then Ben was like, "You need to come on my show," and I'm like, "I don't want to come on your show because I feel like I got my own, and I just want to do my own thing." And that was back when I was young, around the age of 26, 27, and now
Jesus Christ, I've known you that long.
it's been a minute, and then now, now that I'm at 31, it's funny because even then, when he finally got me on there, I was like, well, if I'm gonna be on, I need to be on the marquee. It's gonna be with Rebecca Azor too. It can't be just Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon. And then I just didn't care. After a while, I didn't care. When I finally did get on the marquee, we was out of there.
I spent
like 3 days.
We had 3 whole months of us doing a show together, and it was popping. And then they canceled the whole. They shut the whole thing down.
They shut it down. They did.
I'm in Georgia with my pregnant wife, and the company that had me come down, because they ain't moved me. The company that had me come down here shut down.
Yeah.
So when we talk about
shut
this
down,
Medicare,
they shut down because we rebelled against the chains that they were trying to put on us on how we put out content.
Yeah, how much black content were we going to do?
And they had an issue with that.
And don't get me wrong, I'm friends with all of them now. We're all cool, super cool now. Probably
not me.
We're gonna do.
They
some
never.
You ain't
It's crazy. They never.
We're gonna do some business together.
Every time they break up with us, I never get the love. It'd be like, I'm just like, okay, they
Rebecca,
never.
No, we're gonna talk to Rebecca.
Yeah, we don't want Rebecca, but we want Ben. But anywho, we're moving towards something else. It's gonna be the same thing. It's just gonna be with me at the forefront. I think it's great to have some Black girl magic in the midst on Benjamin Dixon's show. Dwayne put it that in a beautiful way, in a beautiful manner. And I absolutely, and that's with Georgia Ford in the morning as well. And I absolutely, what I do also love about this, as we go into it's kind of like we're molding, but we're molding into our original idea when we first came up with it. It's all just coming into play. And, I see it as me being like on Ellen DeGeneres show, and when she has her DJ and she always cues him in for everything, and he's like included into every conversation. That's who James Bubba Williams, DJ X3C is for me. He has something to say, inclusive in the conversations, and he has a life and he has great things going. And also he plays the music, so he is a key part and a key point when it comes to this show as well. So I can't do what he does, and I can't say the things that he say the way that he says the way the things that he say. So I'm excited about it. It's not anything like, oh my God, the whole platform is going to change. It might get a little girly with the colors. I'm just kidding.
No, that's do your thing. Do your thing.
No, like I just look.
And please change that opening music. I just want to say my apologies to everyone who has suffered through that opening music.
Apologize to us, Ben, because you fought us with like iron fist.
But the first music was whack. Mine wasn't better. It just felt better that day, so I chose it. And I've been waiting on you to choose new music ever since. So please, for the love of God, change that music.
Yeah. So
now, like it or not.
Yeah, we're gonna change the voice too.
Ben got so upset when we were like, we don't like the song. Well, you pick something better. And Ben still went with his choice.
Because y'all didn't bring me nothing better.
We did bring you something much better. That's the thing. The thing is, give it a chance. Because even remember the first show that we did, you didn't like that song, and then after that, you was like, that song was pretty. That song was pretty good.
No, I didn't. I still didn't like the very first song, and then y'all brought me some more choices, and I liked them. But the point is, it's your palette. It's your palette. Paint it the colors that you want to paint it with. Paint it with the music that you want to paint it with, and paint it with the guests that you want to paint it with. And I think I've always known this. The people who I'm around, if I give them space to shine, we all gonna shine. We gonna do good together.
Right.
So.
Love you guys so much, and I'm looking forward.
Shine
to
on, sis. Shine on.
I am. You know, and it's not only my bronzer that's gonna shine. It's gonna be the love in my heart that I definitely want you guys to see. I want you guys to see more of each and every one of our hearts, and and I really don't give a damn about how you guys may want me to speak or how you guys want me to be. I love who I am and how I am, and I love the particular stories that I want to go with, and I love highlighting Black women in positions on the show, especially. And I love honoring Black men. I love talking about or being educated on the LGBTQIA community. I love it. I love it so much. And I think that, moving further with the show, that's what we're going to continue to push on. And we're going to continue to call out white people in their white supremacist actions. It's always going to be
you is hella Black too. Like you like Sister Soldier Black. Like you've been waiting for me to back away a little bit and stop protecting the Democratic, establishment being kind of a but if I just let you loose, man, you have everybody out here marching with Huey P. Newton.
Yeah. Listen, now I don't know if I'm that Black, but I am pretty. I'm pretty more on.
Well, I mean, then you still go to brunch. You still go to the brunch on Sunday, Black.
Oh, so, yeah, I'm still at the brunch on Sunday. I still,
still a bougie Black.
But that is Black though. Like it's just like when we had Olay on yesterday, and she pointed out when she made her comment on Twitter, she was like, "It's so good when another Black woman recognizes you with your blonde hair and how that's supposed to be the way it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be that my blonde hair changes who I am in these spaces. It doesn't, because I'm still me, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing hood about it. There's nothing ghetto about it. The same thing with me. Blackness doesn't come in one form, and people might look at my Blackness some days like it's real ghetto. Some people might look at my Blackness like it's too bougie. I'm all of the above. Yeah. All of it. And that's what I say to the audience. You're going to get all of that. Sometimes they say, oh, Rebecca's just carrying on this way. Or sometimes they say, I don't like that Ben isn't talking today or whatever. Y'all talk to Ben about that. Y'all talk to God about that. They ain't got nothing to do with me. Ben's voice is struggling right now. And we want to make sure that he's good. But in the same instance, we're growing. So while we grow, we also expand our platforms, and we also give opportunity for each and every one of us to have a voice on every issue. Okay. So
it's like with Ariel from the Little Mermaid, little voice.
Why do we all know it? Why do we all know it and just start singing it right away? It's amazing. I love it. I love our connectivity. It's a beautiful thing. So we still have a few minutes left before the show is over.
Yeah, we're taking it to the after party because we never do right. We
haven't done it right
for 3 days straight.
Patrons.
I'm like 3 days
But we're
straight.
still allowing us to give the regular folks a damn, for full content. Yeah. So yeah, the regulars. But well, we got DJ Exclusive who's about to let you guys know all that you need to know on keeping us here and supporting the show so that we can continue to ride out with you guys on Like It or Not with Rebecca Azor. We're gonna see you in the after party.
Listen, you better have the music changed by tomorrow.
Listen.
All right.
We'll work on it. Yeah, I'll mess around and give y'all kumpa in the morning.
Hey,
come on, kumpa. It's gonna be a whole Caribbean show. Welcome to Like It or Not, where we're here to tell the truth and not care who likes it. All right, y'all. We thank y'all so much. We're gonna get some of these. Man, let's see what we're gonna get read off today. Man, I had to mute this window because Jesus, the echoes and the multiple streams. My gosh, today. All right, y'all. New patrons. Come on, man. All right, our new patrons for yesterday. Y'all. We have Angela I, Nina T, Politics Done Right, Egberto, shout out to you, man. We appreciate you coming through yesterday as well, too. S Gainer increased their pledge. We have Wrath Nasty, new Twitch subscribers here. Wrath Nasty. We have Chrome World, who subscribed with Prime. Ashes0610, who subscribed with Prime. And also, oh my goodness, Ophio Navernus. I got it. Ophio Navernus resubscribed with Prime and commented back again. They have been subscribed for 2 months. Welcome back, Ophio Navernus. We appreciate you. And Chrome World also cheered 100 bits. And yesterday, Star Senator Tracy Jones sent us 200 stars and said appreciation. That was from Facebook. And Ginger Snip Snap. Good important message. I'm going to drop the music for this one, y'all. National Helpline for Mental Health Assistance. Finding a therapist or just need someone to talk to. If you don't want to talk, you can text for help. Crisis text line. Text the word home to 741-741. Again, that's home to 741-741. The Trans Lifeline. Call 1-877-565-8860. Again, 877-565-8860. And also the Trevor Lifeline for LGBTQ youth. Call 1-866-488-7386. Again, 866-488-7386. And also you can call 211 for mental health assistance directly, y'all. Mental health is very important. We'll make sure that we get that information dropped in the chat, y'all. And also Jam Tube sent us a couple of chats yesterday. Good morning, James. You're giving off some fierce energy this morning, and it's fantastic. And also fantastic segment this morning, y'all. You're killing it. Thank you. And brother Goku. Shout out Goku. Same with wealth distribution and taxation. Who told you it won't work? The wealthy person. And lastly, Ethnic Content says, Rebecca wondering how ads are popping up on her phone, forgetting that Alexa's ear-hustling, gossipy, snitching self is right next to her. Absolutely right. And Becky P, this is why I love supporting you all. Take my money. You are the best examples of human beings and showing how we all live, how we all win when you lift others up, man. Yeah, absolutely right, y'all. Welcome to the after party. We thank y'all so much for tuning in. Like it or not, let's get into some music. Whew. Man, that was a lot. Can't do all that now.
Tell them I need my money right now. Probably the juice, they stole out my crown. Sorry to tell you, I know my value. I'm gonna recoup, yeah. But don't waste my energy, my energy. I don't got much, don't be wasting all my energy. I keep it tight, don't let nobody get close to me. My heart is right, don't question my integrity. No, I thought we would be just fine.
All right, y'all, make sure that y'all switch over to the Like It or Not channel.